Jocelyn never planned to destroy a man in front of a room full of billion-dollar investors. But as she stood behind the velvet curtain of the Hilton Skydeck ballroom, fingers hovering over a tablet loaded with evidence, contracts, secret emails, financial trails that could end careers, she realized there was no turning back. In 60 seconds, CEO Marcus Hale would walk on stage and announce the transition he'd engineered behind her back. A transition that involved pushing her out of her own company, the company she built from 3 lines of code in her studio apartment. But what Marcus didn't know was that Jocelyn had been listening, watching, recording. And today, she wasn't the silent founder anymore. Today, she was the storm. Jocelyn Carter was many things. A software architect, a reluctant entrepreneur, a woman who preferred the hum of servers to the hum of conversations. A ghost in her own boardroom by choice. At 27, she'd invented CipherNest, a predictive cybersecurity engine that caught breaches before they happened. Investors called it magic. Hackers called it black ice. Her team called it Jocelyn's brain on steroids. But Jocelyn herself, she called it survival. She'd grown up watching her dad's small business crumble after a data breach. She promised herself no one she loved, not her father, not any small business owner, would go through that again. When CipherNest exploded into a $400 million company, Jocelyn did what she always did, she retreated behind the scenes. She hired Marcus Hale, polished, charming, flawless-toothed Marcus, as CEO so she could keep building. She trusted him, believed in him, and that trust was her first mistake. The warning signs were small at first. A meeting she wasn't invited to. A roadmap changed without her approval. A handshake between Marcus and an investor she didn't trust. Then came the last straw. One rainy Thursday, Jocelyn were walking past the executive conference room when she heard her own name. "We push her out quietly," Marcus was saying. "Founders are emotional. Once we file the restructuring draft, she'll have no voting rights left." Jocelyn froze. Another voice, Richard Cranston, a venture capitalist who loved ego more than startups, answered, "The investors will back you. Jocelyn's brilliant, but she's not leadership material. The market responds better to your face, Marcus." A soft rustle of papers followed. "Marcus, my announcement is scheduled for the investor summit next week. Officially it's a shift, Jocelyn, pursuing other creative avenues. Richard, and she won't see it coming." Marcus laughed. A smooth, confident, deadly laugh. "She never does." Jocelyn walked away silent, eyes forward, pulse steady. On the outside she looked calm. Inside, something burned. It wasn't rage. It was precision. If Marcus wanted a silent founder, she would be silent. But not powerless. Jocelyn started with the logs. She built CipherNest. After all, the system didn't just track cybersecurity threats. It tracked everything. Server access logs showed Marcus exporting internal documents at midnight. Encrypted folders linked to offshore accounts. Investor messages routed through private channels. She didn't need a spy. She had code. Next, she looped in Lena Morales, her head of DevOps and one of the few people she trusted. Lena's reaction was immediate and violent. "That snake suit wearing mannequin is trying to boot you from your company." She fumed. "Tell me you're firing him." "Not yet," Jocelyn said, eyes glued to her monitor. "If I fire him, he walks away with his golden parachute and his reputation intact." Lena folded her arms. "So what's the plan?" Jocelyn turned. And for the first time Lena had ever seen, Jocelyn smiled. "I'm going to let him make his announcement. And then I'm going to bury him with the truth. In front of every investor he lied to." Lena blinked. Oh, we're doing vengeance. Okay, I can get behind this." The investor summit was 6 days away. Jocelyn worked all night pulling every digital thread Marcus had touched. Unauthorized fund transfers. Manipulated performance reports. Communications with a competing firm. Draft contracts promising access to CipherNest's source code without board approval. The man had been planning her removal for months. And CipherNest's downfall for profit. By day 3, Jocelyn had a digital war chest. But she needed more, she needed something undeniable. She found it in a recorded call between Marcus and Richard Cranston. "Marcus, the moment Jocelyn signs off on the restructure, we'll replace the original security kernel. It'll free up our licensing limitations." Richard, "Illegal, but profitable." Marcus, "Hence why she won't know." The audio ended. Lena whistled. "Oh, he's done. Turn him into corporate compost." But Jocelyn wasn't done. She needed a strategic detonation. Not a leak. Not an email blast. Not a press release. Something theatrical. Something corporate enough to be legal. And devastating enough to be permanent. She knew exactly where. The Investor Summit keynote. The Hilton Skydeck ballroom shone with polished marble and old money. Investors filled the gold-trimmed chairs. The board sat in the front row. Marcus stood backstage adjusting his $1,000 tie, radiating confidence. He'd already printed the press release announcing Jocelyn's transition to creative advisor. He was smiling like he'd already won. Jocelyn arrived quietly. Black suit, hair pulled back, tablet under her arm, expression unreadable. Marcus saw her and grinned. Jocelyn, glad you're here. Big day for the company. I'm announcing your new role today. Exciting, right? Thrilling, she deadpanned. He didn't notice her tone. He never noticed anything that wasn't his reflection. Marcus walked on stage to applause. Good morning, esteemed investors. Today we announce a pivotal shift in CipherNest's leadership. Behind the curtain, Jocelyn waited. 30 seconds. 40. And then, Marcus tapped the clicker to advance his slide. The screen behind him did not show his slide. It showed a folder titled, The Coup, Evidence. The audience murmured. Marcus froze. Clicked again. Nothing changed. Then the folder opened automatically. Email screenshots, financial spreadsheets, audio transcripts, all projected in stunning 4K clarity. Marcus stammered, This is unauthorized, security issue, technical. A voice echoed across the ballroom. Jocelyn's voice. Actually, Marcus, this is your issue. She stepped onto the stage. The audience fell silent. Marcus whispered harshly, Jocelyn, what the hell are you doing? Correcting the narrative, she said, lifting her tablet. The speakers boomed as she played the recorded phone call. Marcus's own voice filled the room. Once we remove our voting rights, CipherNest becomes ours. Gasps spread like wildfire. Then Richard's voice. Illegal, but profitable. Board members shifted, horrified. Marcus lunged toward the tablet. Turn it off. Jocelyn stepped back. Touch me again and the next item I play is the offshore wire transfer logs. Marcus paled. Jocelyn turned to the investors. For months, your CEO has been planning an illegal restructure to seize my intellectual property, falsify reports, and sell parts of CipherNest's core technology to competitors without approval. She tapped the screen again. More evidence. More messages. More lies. The room filled with murmurs of anger, betrayal, disgust. Richard Cranston stood. This is absurd. Jocelyn cut him off. Richard, your voice is in the recording. Sit down. The man sat. Marcus finally snapped. This is slander. You're unstable. You're just a coder. Jocelyn tilted her head. Marcus, CipherNest runs on code. Her voice dropped to a whisper. And I'm the one who wrote it. She swiped on her tablet. The ballroom projectors flickered, and displayed a final slide. CipherNest Emergency Protocol, CEO access revoked. New acting CEO, Jocelyn Carter. The investors erupted. The board chair rose, stern. Marcus Hale, you are suspended pending investigation. Security approached. Marcus sputtered, you can't do this. I'm the face of this company. No, Jocelyn said softly. You were the mask. I'm the spine. As Marcus was escorted out, Jocelyn walked to the podium. Now, she said calmly, shall we begin the real investor summit? Applause thundered. By evening, news outlets were exploding with headlines. CipherNest CEO exposed in live investor meltdown. Silent founder Jocelyn Carter executes perfect corporate takedown. Marcus faced investigations for fraud. Richard Cranston resigned in disgrace. The board reinstated Jocelyn with full authority. But she didn't feel triumphant. Not yet. Lena knocked on her office door. Hey, boss. You did it. I defended my company, Jocelyn said quietly. That's different from winning. Lena smirked. Then what's winning? Jocelyn stared at the glowing skyline. Building something so strong, she said, that no one can ever try to steal it again. She turned to her monitors and began rewriting CipherNest's core protocols, not out of fear, but out of freedom. Because she wasn't the silent founder anymore. She was the leader. And the world was finally listening.